Well, first of all, what's up, Prakhar?
So it's early morning here. I had to
Yeah, what time
put up
is
an
it where
alarm.
you are?
7:30 in the morning,
Okay.
and I wake up around 9 usually.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry. This is,
That's cool.
I was being selfish. I was trying to make it work for my day. It's just so everyone knows that's watching. It's 6 p.m. here, so
Oh,
we're starting to round out the end of the day in the office, and
yeah.
I appreciate you waking up early. The last time we zoomed, I think it was like 2 in the morning your time. So. So, anyways, just so basically, we're talking in front of an audience right now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to just do like a quick conversation and catch everyone up to speed about how this all came about and how we started talking and like just our process together. But it was April of last year of 2020.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you had you DM'd me and by now many people have read the message, but you'd essentially been reading my book and felt for whatever reason that perhaps it would be a good idea to reach out and talk to me and tell me what your thought process was at that time.
So what happened was I had literally just finished reading a book,
Yeah.
and it was during the middle of the night, and I was so pushed by it. I thought, because what has happened was, I've DM'd people before, and
Of
I'm
course, me too.
I'm just shamelessly DMing people out there, hey, do you wanna see my clothes? Do you wanna do this? Do you wanna do that? And then I read your book, and then I thought, um, there's a high chance that you might see my message. And then I just quickly checked the time, like, what time is it in LA right now? And then I thought, if I DM right now, it'll be very sick because in case you see it. And then you did. And it was very crazy. And then, but I never thought like it'll go this far.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It
So
doesn't,
thank you.
it typically doesn't go this far. I try to answer my direct messages. For one, it's not necessarily that I'm that popular, but people, my community tends to know that I will do my best to answer and see everyone's messages. I've had to do that more in my texting lately, that in the States, people can actually text my phone. And so I've done a pretty good job of answering thousands of these a week. My direct messages are pretty packed. And so I do my best to try to answer everyone. I don't get to everybody. I see a lot of people's work. Some of it is good. A lot of it is not so good. None of it ever really stands out to me enough to where I feel like I should, actually reach out and try to work with that designer. Usually, I tend to give advice. I tend to tell people like what I think, but for the most part, I tell people look, get your work to a point where it's so good that I can't ignore it, but you're not necessarily at that stage yet. For me, it's just, me personally, a lot of people's work, it doesn't really speak to me until a certain point. So I usually advise people keep going, keep trying, get it so good that I can't ignore it to where I have to work with you. And you reached out and you're like, hey, Bobby, here's my brand, or here's what I'm working on. And I was like, great, I'll check it out, like I do with most everybody. And I'm looking through it and I was like, this is really good. And then I sat on it for a second and I thought, actually, this is to the point where I cannot ignore it. Like, I feel like it would be a mistake to let this guy, this designer, just kind of fall by the wayside. I think I need to actually engage a little bit further. And so I brought it to my team, and I was like, am I crazy here? Or is this guy doing some pretty spectacular work? And the team was like, yo, this is sick. like, this is really interesting. It's done really well, thoughtfully. And I was just like, hey, like, you know, we do this a lot. You know, we
Yeah.
work with outside artists, and you know, we try to put on people who are, you know, the next up and coming designer. I was just like, perhaps like there is an opportunity here for us to work together. And then and then I was nervous. Like, I was just like, hey, Prakhar, like, do you want to do this? You could have been like, no, I'm waiting for Supreme or something, like, you know, like, I'd rather work with, you know, Louis Vuitton. And I'd be like, I get it, you know. I put myself, you put yourself out there, I put myself out there, and it worked out.
It was wild. It was like I never in my wildest dream thought it'll go this far. I just wanted you to see my work, wanted you to critique it. But then when you sent that DM, I was like, I showed it to my brother, like my real brother who stays with me. I was like, fuck, do you want to see this? You see?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
he's 3 years elder too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really excited too. And you know, that's just the first phase of how collaboration works. You know, sometimes it's a really good conversation and everyone's on board. And then once we start working, it's a difficult process. Sometimes it gets a little complicated in the actual production of things. Sometimes, actually many times, the collaborative partner that we work with submits designs that we're like, oh, like, that's not exactly what we wanted from them. And it's, but this time with you, it was smooth all the way through, you know, from the beginning of us meeting to us working on things. Like, everything felt really organic. Can you talk to us about the actual, the design, the pattern itself, and what went into that?
So what had happened was I had started working on the print before this happened. Like, I was drawing the motifs already by the time I sent you the message, but I had no idea it'll go into this. And I was just drawing the motifs. And then I had an idea in mind of doing, by then I was doing very floral prints and very upbeat prints in a way. Then I was like, what if I mix up that thing where the animals, like, or like the motifs, they're fighting with each other. And so I wanted to switch things up a little bit. So, and like, I wanted to show animals fighting with each other, but show it in a way that it's wearable.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And
so the two animals that you chose, what were they?
The tiger and the peacock. So the tiger, because I really like the tiger, like, a lot. And you guys were like, hey, it's a recurring motif of ours. So do you wanna, so that's why it fell into place, like, right away. Like, and the peacock, because it's also a national animal of India, like the national bird of India.
Okay.
So everything fell into place, and it was very organic, because by the time I showed you guys like what was up, it was pretty cool. And yeah, that's how it turned out.
Yeah, and we love it. And in the end, it's yeah, to your point. So what you were saying was, you were used to, you know, working with these bright up, you know, colorful motifs, and then you're like, what if we have some kind of a contrast, you know, a fight between two different animals. And the peacock is yours, that's that's of India, and the white tiger is an animal that we tend to use a lot. You know, there's a few animals that run throughout a lot of our brand language. And you know, and so the two of those together, it worked really well. You also used a lot of the color blue in, you know, a very a specific Pantone color of blue. Why that color blue? What about that was interesting to you?
I thought it showed a very nice backdrop for the setting of, like, like when you see it from far away, it looks like it's a very beautiful print. Like when
Yeah.
you see it from far away, you'll never think like these guys are like the motifs are fighting with each other, like the tiger and the peacock are fighting. But then once you get close enough, you see like you can see their bones, you can see their blood.
Yeah.
So I really thought that blue would be nice because it's very upbeat looking from far away. But then once you get close up, you get to see the details, and then it just it's all very violent and it's all very opposite of what you thought it would be.
Right, right. Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we chose together some specific pieces to build the capsule out with. There's like an
Yeah.
anorak jacket that we printed this on, shorts. I feel like it's very Californian, but also it worked really well in India, especially the way that you guys put that lookbook together. It seems to make a lot of sense out there as well.
Yeah.
What was your favorite piece from this collaboration?
Definitely the button up, because that's been something that I have been doing like since the start of my brand. Like, because early on I realized like initially I wanted to be an artist, like around high school.
Yeah.
But then I quickly realized that in India, like it's very hard to make it here, like as an artist. So I thought I might as well go into printmaking, where I'm able to do my art as well, and then also able to make some money so that I can sustain my passion for it.
Oh, amazing.
So a shirt, yeah, a button up or a shirt has been my go-to blank canvas for doing everything. That's why I do a lot of prints, because it's something that satisfies me a lot. So button up has been my signature piece. So that's why I like the button up the most from this
Love it.
collection as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. What
How
about
did,
you?
how do you feel about I guess what I wanted to ask was how is your community, your friends and family, like how do they feel about you working with the hundreds, like where you're at right now in your career? Like what does this mean to them?
So my immediate family, I had to, like my parents, I had to show them like because a couple of months before that, I saw the complex interview.
Yeah.
So they were, so I first showed them this like I didn't tell them anything before this. And I was
Yeah.
like, just see this video, and they liked it a lot. And then I was like, I'm working with these guys.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you first showed them my blueprint interview and you're like, what do you think about that? And they said, that's fine. And then you're like, that's who I'm going to be working with now. So did they take you a little bit more seriously after that?
Definitely. So like every time like somebody comes over from my family, like my distant relatives, so my parents are like, do you know the hundreds from LA?
Have you ever been to LA before?
No. I've never been outside India as of now.
I would love for you to come visit. I think your mind would be blown. And we were talking about this the other day. I'm embarrassingly, I've never been to India either. And I was supposed to go last year. It was a part of my book tour. I was supposed to be in India around the spring of last year, and then COVID happened. So I didn't get to make it out, but I'll be out there, as soon as this thing is over, the pandemic. But what's the scene in India? For our audience and our community, they were really excited to see this. Many people I saw like messaging me and writing in the comments were saying they didn't know that India had a streetwear scene. They didn't know that there were designers making like really great clothes out in India. This is how Americentric we tend to be. We think that America is the most important country on the earth and nothing else matters. That's just how Americans think. And so I want you to help us out of our ignorance and enlighten us, educate us on what's going on in India with streetwear. I know you guys have a great scene going on out there,
Yeah,
great
definitely.
fashion scene. Bhavisha and the
Massive
capsule
from, yeah,
are doing an amazing job as well.
yeah.
But from your perspective, tell me about it.
So what has happened is America is definitely like the go-to place to look up to, like for the streetwear scene. And in here in India, like things had been moving slowly. Like people knew about like all the big players in the global streetwear scene. Like most of like starting with definitely with Supreme, like
Of course.
Supreme, because everybody recognizes Supreme, like just from the red box logo.
Yes.
But recently, what has happened in India is, I don't think you have, but have you seen Bollywood movies ever? Or like,
Of
do you
course.
know about? Oh, damn. So,
Of course. Bollywood movies are pretty mainstream even in the States. That's, you know, first of all, I don't know if you know this, there's a lot of Indians on our planet. And there's a lot. And there's a lot of Indian cinema that has come from that. And so even on American Netflix, there are Bollywood films. And, you know, I was a huge Aishwarya Rai fan when I was growing up, you know, so I'm like, certain Bollywood stars like really stand out to me. But yes, of course, of course.
Yeah. So what happened was, so all these Bollywood actors and actresses, they have recently started getting more into the airport look.
Yes. Yep.
So they've gone more fashion conscious. So what has happened is everybody started embracing, and they look like in India, they almost have the same status as like I don't even know how to put it, but like a lot of people look up to the Bollywood actors here.
Yes.
So once they started embracing all this fashion culture and everything, things moved at a very fast pace. So now it's at a stage where there are sneaker resellers there. There are new brands coming up every day, which is really nice because like that's how things are moving forward every day.
Yeah.
So there are new brands every day. You can find very cool stuff here in India. And yeah, it's been a nice gradual rise, which is now finally coming to a very like
is it getting mainstream almost?
Yeah, it's almost getting mainstream now. Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna ask, what besides the brand Prakhar, what other brands in your local scene are really hot right now?
So I definitely like, there's a, for my same batch, so I started in design school. I studied textile design in National Institute of Fashion Technology, which is the like one of the best colleges here in India for studying design. So one of my batchmates, Haneem, he has his own brand. His name is Haneem, Hanen.
Okay, Hanen, Haneem.
Yeah, Haneem. Yeah.
Okay.
So I definitely like his work. Then there's this brand called Not One.
North One?
Not One. NOUGHT.
Okay.
NOUGHTONE, Not One.
Nice.
That's definitely one of the better ones. And yeah, there are a lot. Like there's 656, there's Almost Gods, there's Deliwear.
I love it.
There's countless brands here which you can find. There's Jaywalking from Mumbai. So, and thing is, there's some brands from North India, there's some brands from South India.
Yes.
And all of them have a very different aesthetic to keep up. So it's very cool to see. I'll send you a couple of
yeah, please send it, and then we'll add it to the content of this video.
It'll be great.
But dude, that's my favorite thing to hear, because you know, when we were growing up and just getting into this, there really were just a handful of these artists and brands around the world, and we all knew what they were. And um, one of my favorite things about streetwear over the years is that as we've traveled the world, we've noticed more and more that even within these really small locales, like really tiny communities, even, you know, across America, like small neighborhoods, foreign countries, they are all starting to cultivate and build and invest in their own communities, their own streetwear communities. And we appreciate that, you know, people from around the world buy the hundreds and support us. I think that's great. Thank you to, you know, our Indian audience. Like we appreciate that. But I think it is even cooler to us to know that there are brands coming out of New Delhi and Mumbai and that are, you know, from the actual region, you know, inspired by the region, and the money goes back into that community. That is a really, really cool and important part of where we're at with streetwear now. And so I love what's happening in India. You know, like you are just one example of like many young designers and brands that are coming up right now. And, you know, my hope is that in us doing this, the hundreds and Prakhar collaboration, that more people from our side of the world and our audience is aware that, you know, there's like a pretty cool movement going on in India, and like, what is that about? Maybe I should follow and support some of those brands. And I hope so far you've already gotten some new followers from the hundreds. Have you picked up some new followers? Okay, great.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
It was very cool to see, like, I never expected, like, the people I look up to.
yeah.
It was great to see them, like, comment. It was great to see, like, starting a conversation with them, because never in my wildest dream I would have thought I'll be talking to these guys, or these guys will be seeing my work someday. Because
Yeah.
just being able to show them the work,
Yeah.
it's a very, it's a very nice feeling just to
Yeah.
know that this is what I do. So thank you for that.
Well, hey, you know, you're welcome, but you're the one who is talented and you're doing the work. And it is our pleasure and our honor to share that with our community. You know, as much as you think we're doing you a huge favor, you are making us look much better these days also. Like we look pretty cool working with like a great young designer out of India on the other side of the world. Like that keeps our brand fresh and interesting and relevant. And when you know, in 10, 15, 20 years, like when you are, you know, bigger than the hundreds will ever be, I want you to do the same thing, you know, like you are going to be reaching out to the next kid, you know, in China or like Africa or like Brazil and being like, hey man, like I'm Prakhar and whoa, like I want to work with you and like do something together and just let's keep the love going,
Yeah,
man.
keep
Like
going. Yeah.
keep it
It's
going.
very nice to see. Yeah, definitely. That's a very nice way of moving things forward, like point by point. Like
Yeah.
by the time you are old enough to cultivate like a newer generation,
Yes.
it's it definitely moves the needle forward.
Yeah, you know, there were certain brands that we looked up to when we were starting that would have never have given us the time of day. And I knew, I said, when I'm in a position, when our stage is big enough to accommodate other young people and the next class of people coming in, instead of being threatened by them, I want to learn from them, you know, I want to work with them. I want them to make us better, you know, because we have your eye on our product here at the hundreds, because we have your influence and your opinion in our design. It makes me look at design differently. It makes me look at the hundreds differently, you know, and I couldn't have done that without you. I can't make those pieces that we made in this capsule collection. I couldn't have made it without you. You know, I would have never thought to use a peacock. I don't think I've ever used a peacock once in the brand's history. Maybe like on a jacket somewhere, you know, 15 years ago. But
Yeah.
I would have never used a peacock. I would have never used that color blue. I don't know if I've ever chosen that palette, that color Pantone from our palette before. So, you know, that's all your influence. And so this is how creativity works. You know, this is why I love collaboration, is because two different people from the opposite sides of the planet. It is 6 p.m. here. It is 7:30 a.m. over there. Two totally different views on the world, two generations. I'm much older than you. You know, we can come together and make something out of nothing, an original idea, you know, and that's what this collaboration
It's pretty wild to see. Yeah. What was some of your brand? Like I noticed you said like you looked up to brands like when you were younger as well. What was some of the brands you looked up to? Like
I was really inspired by you know, I grew up from the time I was in elementary school. I was really into Stussy, Fresh Jive, a brand called Extra Large, which is, you know, still a shape of it is still around today in Japan and here. There are a lot of these really great graffiti and skate oriented brands in the 90s. Gypsies and Thieves was one, you know, Think Skateboards, like a lot of cool independent skateboard companies, Blind. So those were kind of the brands that I grew up on. And then when I was in my late teens, I got really into A-Life and Supreme and A Bathing Ape, you know? And so this was the late 90s now. So those brands that were coming out of Japan, you know, like A Bathing Ape, you know, the New York brands like Supreme, Priceless, J Money, Sir, like those were like the coolest brands to me, and still are. They still are. And so, you know, I'm glad to have come in the next generation after that and been able to do what we do, you know. But I got
that
9 years.
that's super cool. That's too cool. Like I don't even know like how that feels. Like knowing that you're the next the next after them. I don't even know like how that feels. Like being you right now. Like, it's a pretty wild feeling. Like it must be pretty wild thinking.
I mean,
about that.
I don't know any other different because I live inside of this body every day, but look, it still feels very much like I feel still, Prakhar, honestly, I still feel like I'm at where you're at in life in terms of my spirit and in terms of my perspective on the culture and on design and working. I still sit here all day, you know, and I'm still drawing and designing and I still love it. It's still the same feeling. It's just me and my tools here and my markers and my pencils. And Ben is in the next office every day. We come to work, we work all day, I work all night, I go home and I write. And it's nothing changed, you know. I'm very fortunate enough that I was able to find a woman who would marry me. I have two amazing kids who are obnoxious, but they're good kids. And I have a normal house, you know, and I have a car that I can drive. Everything else, man, I'm the same dude. Same guy. I still feel like I'm 23. We started when I was 23. So nothing's changed. Nothing changes. Like if you love the work, and I know you love the work, it's all good, man. Like we stay young forever.
Yeah. I still like do everything. So the thing is, there's like I don't have a brand to say because like I have a brand, but there's nobody working beside me. Like I'm the only employee. Like so I'm doing all the designing, I'm doing all the fabric sourcing, I'm doing all the running around and then getting things together, all the logistics, sending the packages. But then I've been blessed with some really good friends because of my design school.
Yep.
Who've helped me shape up the visual look of the brand.
Yeah.
So some of them help me photograph all the campaigns. Some of me give me suggestions on how to do the logos, how to go about designing the packaging.
Yeah.
So design school has been really great.
That's really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it helps, definitely helps a lot.
it's really important to have a support system like that. Whether or not you have employees or partners in your company, your greatest success is going to come not by the product that you make or the money that you accumulate. It's going to come in the relationships that you build with the people around you. And this is, you know, this is nothing revelatory by any means, but I know a lot of wealthy people. I know a lot of successful people business-wise, but they are unhappy because they don't have solid support systems. They aren't necessarily surrounded with good relationships or healthy relationships. And so I love to hear that you have like people around you that are helping you and that you trust and believe in, because that is what you are going to remember more than anything else you make. You know, when I look back on my career, I don't really remember the details of all the designs I made, but I remember the memories I had with the people who helped me build it along the way, you know? And so I love that you mentioned that, because that is the most important piece. All right, Prakhar, I gotta get going, but we're excited because we're about to drop this collection, and I'll tap in with you again, you know, like as the week goes on. But we're really excited. We're already starting to leak it on our Instagram, and the feedback has been incredible. Like people are really looking forward to this.
It's been great so far. Even I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yes, I think it's gonna be great. I wanted to thank you again from the hundreds, man. Like, you're awesome. People love you here. You feel like you're one of us now, and so like you're like, yo, Prakhar, like they love you, man.
Someday I'll be there. Someday I'll be there.
All right. Have a good day. Good morning.
All right.
I'll see you later.